Letters and sounds are the building blocks of the English language. When we teach children the connections between letters, or graphemes, and the sounds they make, or phonemes, we are teaching them phonics. Phonics forms an integral part of a child's language development. By helping children discover connections between letters and sounds, we can make sure they have the skills and confidence they need to be successful listeners, speakers, readers, and writers of English. Oxford Phonics World is carefully structured to develop these 4 language skills, and to help children be able to recognize and use the 26 letters and 44 sounds of the English language. Authors Kai Schwimmer, Julia Chang, and Craig Wright are experienced teachers and teacher trainers who specialize in phonics instruction. In this video, they share their top tips to help you get the most out of your phonics lessons.
Remember, you are teaching EFL students. Unlike many phonics materials that have been designed for students who are already fluent in English, Oxford Phonics World has been designed from the ground up specifically for students who are learning English as a foreign language. Make sure to spend plenty of time helping your students develop all 4 of their language skills.
Ensure that students know the difference between a letter's name and the sound it represents. You can do this by telling them a story about how the letters of the alphabet are like us, in that they each have a name, and they can speak. Hold up a flashcard for the letter A, and explain that the letter's name is A. When students see this letter, they can use its name to identify it. However, when this letter appears in a word, it speaks to its letter friends by saying "a." We can summarize the point with the phrase, "The letter A says a."
Develop phonemic awareness. What is phonemic awareness? Basically, it means being able to identify, recognize, and say the sounds as accurately as possible. Our students are often learning to speak English for the very first time. The pronunciation and sounds in spoken English may be quite different from the sounds in students' native languages. This makes it all that much more important to work on the skill of phonemic awareness.
Do not distort phonemes by adding an "a" sound to the end. For example, the sound of S is S, not S. And the sound of P is P, not P. Try to make the smallest unit of sound for each phoneme.
Create a rich, engaging learning environment. In addition to the core phonics lessons and activities, don't forget to use the songs and chants, games, stories, apps, student cards, teacher cards, and activities in the teacher's book to help create as rich and engaging a learning environment for your students as possible.
Explicitly teach the concept of blending using flashcards at the earliest opportunity. One way to do this is to put the C flashcard forward and say K. Then put the A flashcard forward and say A. Continue to move the 2 flashcards towards each other each time, creating the sound of the letter until both flashcards are joined in the middle, and say cat. Hold the flashcards C and A in your right hand and the flashcard B in your left hand. Then move the flashcard B towards the flashcards C and A until all 3 flashcards are joined in the middle to form a word cab.
Start with a story. A powerful way to help students develop their 4 skills is to use the stories in Oxford Phonics World to start each unit. Tell the story orally, like a traditional storyteller, adjusting the level of the language you're using to the level of your own students. Then go through the phonics activities in the unit as you normally would. Seeing students at the end of the unit able to independently read the story that you introduced at the beginning of the unit can be a rewarding and confidence-boosting experience for everyone.
create flashcards of the sight words that appear in the reading section. Then present the sight words explicitly by showing each card individually, saying the word and asking the students to repeat it a few times. Once all the words have been presented, flip through the cards randomly and get the students to call out the words as they see them. Once you have ensured that the students are familiar enough with these sight words, you can start to read and enjoy the story in the student book together. Once you have learnt all 26 letters and their sounds, they can begin to decode words by identifying each of their graphemes. After you present a new grapheme-phoneme correspondence, get the students to decode the focus words from the student book without opening their student books. This helps them tie a meaning to the word they have just decoded. The reason for this is that we want students to focus on decoding the word without being distracted or prompted by the picture.
Review, review, review. Constantly reviewing and reinforcing previously learned phonics patterns is highly recommended. There are several review units in each level of Oxford Phonics World. In addition to these, one simple way to add further review is to do dictation activities with 4 to 8 previously learned sounds or words at the end of each lesson, using student cards and some simple lined paper.